it is very it's very comfortable to just to pick a side. If the world is black and white, it's nice, it's organized, and you can stay there and makes life easy.
If you're willing to challenge your views, you have to be, I guess, comfortable with yourself and not be afraid of potentially losing some grounds or looking stupid for like, oh, I was such an proponent of XYZ thought and now I completely changed my mind. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Love Not Fear podcast, where Eduard and I figure out how we make decisions out of love and not out of fear more often or ideally all of the time. And Eduard brought a cool topic to the table today. It's about being right or being wrong and the duality of this. And I've been thinking about that, and in lots of recent conversations with friends, I want to be right and convince them. But once I let loose of this harsh standpoint, I was actually able to learn and kind of see the other person's view. And I think before, wanting to be right was also coming from a place of fear. And
It is very it's very comfortable to just to pick a side. If the world is black and white, it's nice, it's organized, and you can stay there and makes life easy.
it's true. I think this is also oh, a horrible situation that everything becomes black and white. Like Biden's right, no, Trump is right. Uh, Russia's evil, Ukraine is evil, Palestinians are evil, Israelis are evil. It's always like this black and white, and it's very easy. And I guess yes, it's simple to say like, okay, no, this is I'm right, and the other person is wrong. But I think we will shut ourselves off to learn and see
Mm.
the other person's standpoint. Actually, because if you ask somebody how something is and they give you the simple answer, it's usually the right answer is always it depends. Like how do you grow your business? Kind of always depends. So yeah, it's an interesting standpoint that you brought up there.
Yeah. I think if you're in either side of a discussion or an opinion, of course you will probably collect more and more ideas and information about that underlines your statement. And if you surround yourself with people with a certain opinion, it's easy to get totally out of touch with the other point of view. And the reason I brought this topic to the table is that at this very moment we have so many of these hard dilemmas in politics, in wars, that it made me wonder. Another thing is, I changed my mind a couple of times this month. It was a pretty hectic month for me. A lot of things happened, and I found myself in other sides of an idea, basically. And I thought it was interesting because in society in general, being very stern about an opinion is considered as a sign of strength. And I'd like to challenge that. Think zooming out and being able to see other sides of the coin, of the flip side of a situation. That is very powerful and potentially could lead to much more understanding, much less friction, and much more creativity around, yeah, uh, making up your mind.
I think it's has to do with love and fear, of course, as well. If you if you're willing to challenge your views, you have to be, I guess, comfortable with yourself and not be afraid of potentially losing some grounds or looking stupid for like, oh, I was such an proponent of XYZ thought and now I completely changed my mind. So I guess like the loss the the sunk cost fallacy that we talked about last time is also kind of in that realm. I've been like for such a long time I've been a liberal, and now I'm switching to being on the other side and not being able to even tell this to myself.
How did people? Do you have a situation where you have changed and people responded very well to that change, or extremely bad? Because let's say we are both on a path of growth. At least we like to think so. So let's say you're out of touch with somebody that you haven't seen in a couple of years, and you meet this person. I sometimes find it awkward to have this stigma, and this was the old you, and they try to look for that old you in the new you, in the evolved version. Does it sound familiar?
Yeah, I mean, to some degree, I used to party all the time. I used to smoke weed like a madman for many years, and I also used to drink a lot. And just like especially my teenage years were like really wild. And if somebody from this era sees me today, it's like I'm a completely changed person. And I mean, this
Yeah.
is so long gone, and I also have like I'm very convinced that this is the right way to do it. So it doesn't really bother me. But sometimes when people say like, "Hey, you don't drink? Like, what's wrong with you?" Like this type of thing in social settings has happened a few times, but it didn't really bother me because I'm very this decision is very solidified. But then when it starts, it can definitely be a little weird.
These are the extremities, but I'm thinking more of situations where in a smaller time frame you have changed your opinion about something.
When the crypto stuff came out, it was like really deep into the whole crypto world, and that is going to revolutionize everything. And I think it was like way. I think there's like still I still hold a bunch of crypto, but the underlying technology I thought would be really revolutionize the world much faster than it did. And so to some degree, yeah, that definitely changed my opinion on this. I don't think it's terrible, but definitely not as world changing. And now again with AI, I think AI is also going to be super world changing, and it's going to impact businesses faster. So I'm like more on that train now.
Based on your experience, is this process speeding up? Are you now able to go through a bunch of emotions and reflections and opinion, yeah, creating your own opinion in a shorter time frame? Or does it also have to do with the amount of thinking time and zooming out?
No, I'm pretty okay with myself. So it's like because I don't have to be right. My ego or is not really tied to that. I think I'm pretty grounded, like this meditating frog behind me. So it doesn't really rock my boat too much if I change or if I'm wrong. I'm totally also when I have a conversation with my wife, I'm totally happy to say like, okay, sorry, I was wrong, I fucked up. Yesterday I tied one of our horses to a leash to a tree, and then the whole horse. And my wife said, "Just wait 5 minutes." I didn't want to wait. I just tied the horse and walked away, and the horse hurt itself. And she was really upset, and I'm totally fine. It's like, sorry, I fucked up. I thought it's not a big deal, but I was obviously wrong. So I think it's having this good uh, culture, I guess. Also with in the environments that you're in. Makes it much easier. Same, I brought this up a few times. The error log in my companies, whenever we do something wrong, we add it to the error log so we can discuss it and figure out how can we make sure this doesn't happen again. And it's not a big problem to be wrong. We test something out. If it works, great. If it doesn't work, great. We learn something. So I think like this. I think because this mindset is so ingrained in my work culture and also in my personal, uh, yeah, I think that's not a big deal for me.
There's a huge value in errors because it often tells you much more than just the error itself. So without errors, nothing would change. So errors change the needle, maybe change the course. Maybe it's in business. It could change that you are not into certain type of deals or customers anymore, and you need something to change that balance. So errors are actually gifts because they tell you something. They tell you much more than the error itself. Yesterday, I found out that in a quotation we made an error, and that was a €1,600 mistake. but it told me way more than just that error. It told me all kinds of things that was wrong in the process. So when that moment sprung up, I took a moment to say, hey, what was behind this? And it actually led to telling a coworker. It led to taking a walk with this coworker that made a mistake and not blaming. I took it the other way. I knew that this person was overwhelmed and needed much more support. So, and 20 years ago, this would not have happened. I would have been temporarily mad and tried to forget it as fast as possible. So, yeah, I think the zooming out and looking at your emotion and not only see what is happening and ask yourself why 3 times can be very powerful.
Hmm.
Do you ever do that?
Yeah, I definitely drill in like why I do certain things. You know, I want something, like why do I want this? And also, like in goal setting, I think it's really important to really understand the underlying why do I really want this. Makes it easier to actually then do the right things.
What are triggers that ask you that make you think? Because I know you have certain you're quite a structured guy, so you have certain parts in the week where you do certain tasks to make sure that they not get overlooked. But what are triggers that could make you stop what you're doing and reevaluate?
I mean, every time when something doesn't work, or if something doesn't feel right, if it's not fun anymore, um, or if it becomes overwhelming, or there's like a bunch of things. Kind of looking back at your week, what did you accomplish? Looking back at my action right now is 90. Today, I'll finish up my next 90-day plan and revisiting the last 90 days on what I accomplished. And in some areas, I was really good, but in other areas, I really failed. And kind of like figuring out, is this why did I want? Why did I set those goals? Are they still really important? Or because time is very limited, I'll figure out like what really matters. Um, one thought when you asked me like where did I change my mind? I changed my mind. I was the biggest proponent of EOS. I've like been pushing EOS on to everybody and their mom and all my businesses, and I showed it lots of friends, and I um after reading Reinventing Organizations and Maverick and a few books, I think the command and control way of running a business is not the right way anymore. So I'm definitely change my mind on that, and I'm
Here,
working
here.
to
If command and control means that you always are the owner of the problem. No,
nah, not
are you?
necessarily. I had
That
like
means
business
pulling the
partners running it,
organizations, not
so I
pushing.
was like still removed. But I think it's not really setting up the team or the individual that works in the company, setting them
Yeah.
not necessarily up for success and for having like a fun life, can be very stressful and negative.
Mm.
um
Oh, we're drifting from right and wrong, which which is not a bad thing. But I'd like to really wrap this up. So what is right about being wrong? I mean, the cool thing about being wrong is that at least you have stepped out of you learned something. Otherwise, there wouldn't be this concept of being wrong. So this is one. And there's also this balance. What is wrong about being right? And it to me, this whole topic, it's not even relevant. I think that if you find yourself on one aspect of the spectrum, then you have stopped looking for changes. That means you're fixed. So um, yeah, a lot of entrepreneurs are going through pretty hectic times, and they long for the period for the times in their the previous years where it was much more easier, and they were stuck on a certain way. A lot of things are in shift right now, and that is, I think, this is one of the reasons to pick this topic, that it's okay not to be in fully control. And so basically my main message is take time to zoom out and reflect and make sure that you collect information from a multiple sources and people, And if you find yourself stuck with the same people all the time, do something out of your comfort zone. Maybe go to this invitation that you had. You said, I don't feel like it. Maybe it's not relevant enough. I would strongly suggest, I can speak for myself, if I am not out of the office for a couple of weeks, I become numb and I become grumpy. I become uninspired and basically not fun.
I guess my closing thoughts on being right and wrong is like, if you always have to be right, it's like some form of perfectionism or a fixed mindset, another growth mindset. If you're in a growth mindset, you're totally cool with being wrong and learning
Mm.
from the mistakes as
And
they
changing your opinion and speak about it. Hey,
like
I've
Facebook
changed my
has like
mind.
move fast and break things. Right? It's
Yeah,
totally okay. It's just like,
yeah.
do like, yeah, with the best intentions, just do things, and if they end up being wrong, just learn from them and move on and have no grudge about it.
Okay. Well, nice. this this whole podcast went from everywhere. But yeah, I hope it was interesting enough. For me, it was. So thank you, David.
Thank you, Eduard.
See you
Rock
next
and
time.
roll. See you guys soon. Bye.